Hello, I'm Todd Boyum, and I appreciate you visiting the View Mercies blog. This blog really lets me explore one of my favorite topics, which is being able to be intentional about being thankful, about being able to see around me, in the world around me, the blessings that I've been given. And, for those of us who are Christians, this kind of comes from a Bible verse in Romans 12:1 that says, "In view of the mercies of God." But even if you're not, I would encourage you to consider that around you at any given moment in time, you have a wonderful set of blessings and a wonderful set of things to be thankful for, and that can actually set your intention about your day and your world. We all have our ability to set our attitude. And sometimes we don't think that. We think that an attitude is what we get because of what's going on. But in reality, every single day we can be intentional and we can set our attitude. And we can do that sort of first thing in the morning. And so I have a technique of being able to, in the morning, be able to be thankful. But you can do this anywhere. You can do this at any moment in time. Sometimes maybe you have a really bad day and you can stop and sort of release all the tension from that moment and kind of think again about what you have and what you have to be thankful for and sort of reset your intention from this practice. And so I'd like to just kind of share with you a little bit about how one way that I like to do this practice, I like to do this one especially if I kind of want to just really deep dive into thankfulness. Sometimes we just can't, so busy and we have been going and we just think that things are the way they are. And so just to pause and really be able to take a moment and use a technique like this really helps us to kind of reset our whole being. And so the idea of this came to me one day when I was thinking about how lucky we are that we don't live like in ancient times, or even 100 years ago where there was no air conditioning. I live in Texas and it's hot here, and so I'm very thankful for air conditioning. I'm thankful that I am in a home right now that has central air and I'm very cool, and so it doesn't matter what the temperature is outside. And in fact, if it was cold outside, my heater would come on and it would heat me. But at some point in time in history, you would have had to be a king or queen to really have somebody come and fan you if it was hot, or to, do that kind of comfort, or you would have had to do an extreme amount of work to be able to get it for yourself. And so we live in a world where we can almost sort of take for granted the modern technologies we have that literally let us live as kings and queens, even sometimes if we don't have a lot. Even if you're in a small apartment or whatever, you probably still have some of these things, and that you can be thankful for, that in the past, only a king or a queen would have been able to have. And so that's pretty impressive, right? And so the way that I do this technique is, the idea is that from any position in the world, from any place, and that's kind of one of the beauties of this technique, is you can do it anywhere. If you're traveling or if you're at work, you can take a couple of minutes, walk away from the scene, and sort of reset, and from any place, you can do this technique. And so what it is from any position where you are, to be able to look around you from that position, and only from the position you are, try to just think about the things that you could be thankful for. So, I'm sitting in my living room, and if we had an hour, I could really go through all of that exercise and talk about it. One of the beautiful things is that if you're really doing this, you can think it way faster than I'm going to be able to talk you through it. So I'm just going to give you a couple of things that, right from the position that I'm sitting in, that I can be thankful for. And it's kind of the kind of way I think about a morning routine. I like to get up and be able to read and be able to get some moments. And so, I might have some books laid out that, let me, I like this one, Seeing God in America, because it's about being able to see God in different situations, in different places in America. It's very View Mercies like. But, what I also have is my iPad right here. And, with my iPad, which, I can take hundreds and hundreds of books with me anywhere, and just get one anywhere. And so how incredible is that, that's like such a thing to be thankful for, right? You know, I used to travel before this day and I would take 3 or 4 books with me, and now I can just take hundreds of books with me. And so, you know, it's very easy to pull that up and view and be able to read some things and increase your mind and increase your way of looking at the world. So I'm thankful that I live in a place where we have so many books, right? So where we have so much knowledge, where we have, you know, an internet where we can get knowledge, we can get videos, right? We can get, you know, blog posts where people are sharing their experience, which is kind of what I'm trying to do with you right now. And we can just carry them with us. And so, you know, that word and that knowledge was something that only kings used to be able to get. Everybody else didn't get all that knowledge, but we have just an infinite amount of knowledge that we can draw from, and that's an incredible thing, right? But when I look around, I had gotten a little bowl of some nuts here to eat, and I've been kind of working on trying to eat a little more healthy, and so nuts are pretty good for that. And there's a couple of almonds in here and some pecans. And these almonds were given to me by my neighbor as a Christmas gift, and the pecans by a coworker. And so I'm really thankful that I have a neighbor and coworkers who would make me these special pecans and these special almonds. And I really love pecans too, because they remind me of when I grew up. My grandparents had pecans in their yard, so it brings back memories of them. I've always liked pecans. And so it really brings back a sense of my family just to even be able to eat one. And these are like shelled and they're already prepared, and I didn't have to go out and get to a tree and do that. And that's, again, we live in a world where so much of our stuff is very easily prepared for us, you know, and we go out and we eat, and maybe it costs us some money, but it, you know, in the old days, only a king or queen would have had that kind of luxury, right? So we just can have this and not even think twice about it. It's really, really interesting, right? So on the table over here, and I brought one piece of this, I have this little piece of cotton, right? And it's kind of got this, you know, these little things on it that are kind of a little prickly, but my wife has really gotten into decorating with some cotton things, but this really reminds me of my mom's family. They were farmers, and they used to do this and would pick this in the field, and so it just, again, makes me thankful for my parents. And I developed an interest in genealogy and have researched and been blessed to meet many distant cousins and family around the world. And so when I just look at that piece, it makes me think about how wonderful it is for me to have a wife who decorates our home, but it also makes me thankful about my cousins and my interest in genealogy and how that's matured over time, and I've gotten to be blessed to meet so many people. It makes me to think about the work heritage that was given to me and handed down by my grandparents and my great-grandparents, and so I'm very thankful for all of that, right? And then I'm sitting in this chair which my parents gave me, and I really like this chair. It's very comfortable. Like, watch this chair. We can just kick back here. We can just lean right back. And again, that's something that, you know, only maybe a king or queen would have had such kind of luxury in the past. And, you know, it's kind of got these braided tacks. You can't see it, but it's got these these sort of claw foot pieces on it. And it really reminds me of one of my favorite uncles who would actually repair furniture like this in the old style. You know, we live in a world today where things like, you know, nails and screws can make it very, very easy for things to be put together. But, you know, that was really, really difficult in times past. You know, they had to, you know, cut the wood to fasten together. There were so many different techniques. And, you know, this uncle of mine used to share with me the difficulty of building something like a clawfoot piece in the old style. And it was really enthralling to me. You know, Cheryl and I were able to go to Norway this last summer, and we were at these farms, and they had like all of these big planers that went from really small planers to really big planers, like big planers. And if you don't know what a planer is, it actually lets you smooth out wood. But we live in a world where you just go down and you just buy a piece of already planed, perfectly straight wood. And that's a huge blessing. It's the kind of stuff that would have cost an amazing amount of time and energy only kings and queens got it in the past. And so, again, just from a couple of things around me, I can be so thankful, and then just like, I've got a glass of water here. And, this glass of water, besides just coming to me out of a faucet, I use a filter here that filters it out, actually makes it neutral instead of alkaline or acidic. And so it's more pure and better for you. And we can just have it, and it's chilled because it was in my refrigerator. And again, like, how did you get chilled stuff, back in the days of kings and queens? We just have this. It's just so easy to think about it. So there's many more. I could go on, but I just encourage you to think that at any moment in time, at any place, you can stop and do that technique. You can be thankful, and then bring that thankfulness to your world. Even if you have challenges going on, they're not problems, they're challenges. And when you can be thankful that you have a challenge and that you have a mind and that you can go and approach that, then you can approach that problem from a completely different perspective, that challenge from a completely different perspective. And so I hope that you'll do that. I hope that you will start to practice just being thankful, even if it's just for a couple of minutes. You don't have to spend a lot of time, but just to take in any moment, be able to view the mercies around you and be able to get to that. All of this, the things I shared with you today, remind me of this favorite song I have. Chris Rice does a song called The Power of a Moment. And that's what you can do in a moment. Like, again, it took me a long time to tell you these things, but it takes almost no time to think them. It's really just a moment. And so in a moment, you can kind of change your perspective with this. But in that song, he has a great line that I love, and that says, "I get so distracted by my bigger schemes. Show me the importance of the simple things, like a word, a seed, a thorn, a nail, and a cup of cold water." That's Todd Boyam on the View Mercies blog. I hope you have a blessed day. Thank you for watching.